E360 TV proudly presents Messages of Inspirational Stories, broadcasting and live streaming to millions of devices around the world, including Roku, and live streaming to Facebook Live. Also on Amazon Fire TV and to Twitch. Also Android TV and Periscope. Broadcasting to Apple TV and YouTube Live. Proudly brought to you by our host, Donna, producer and host, Michaela Vidal, host and administrator, and Jim Grant, producer and host. Proudly brought to you by the 6minutewebinar.com.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Messages of Inspirational Stories. It is Christmas Eve and we are just having a Christmas program today. We're thankful. We are so thankful. And Jim, most thankful that you're back here in the studio with me.
Oh, thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen. And I tell you right now, I have a lot to be thankful for. I'm making a video and we're editing it right now about my journey. It started on October the 29th on Halloween night. I had a heart attack. And then I had to have open heart surgery and I learned a new word called cabbage. When I first heard that word, I didn't know what they were talking about. It's a CABG. It's an acronym, stands for coronary artery bypass grafting, where they graft the veins out of your legs and, bypass the blockages in your heart and all that. And then they got an X with a 4, which means I got 4 of them. But most importantly, I'm just so thankful that I was able, ladies and gentlemen, to dodge a bullet. Very, very thankful because I had a condition in my heart known as the widowmaker. And I'm sharing in the video, it's going to be 4-part, so you can watch it about 15 minutes at a time. There were 67 tests done on me in the hospital, and not a one detected the widowmaker.
Right.
Because my blood pressure was good, my cholesterol level was good, my bad cholesterol is 76. I mean, so, I should be in good health, right?
Right.
But we're going to be covering quite a bit of, did cover a lot of that in the video to help people to understand not to make the same mistakes that I did, because that safety net of your blood pressure is good, your cholesterol levels is good. When I fell, I found out the hard way, had a big hole in it. So I'm glad to be here. I have a lot to be thankful for. We want to wish you a very Merry Christmas from our home to your home. And Donna and I, we hope that you and your family are richly blessed in all areas.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It has been a tremendous year for us in so many ways. We've had the opportunity, Jim, let's talk about that a minute. We've had the opportunity to, first of all, thank you, Tamara Hunter, for introducing us to E360 TV.
Yes, ma'am.
We've had the opportunity to build a inspirational show. And, people sometimes maybe get the wrong idea when it says messages of inspirational stories. So this isn't about religion. We don't do politics. It's just that inspirational stories.
Good deeds.
Good deeds. Things that we need to be aware of as a community of human beings, right? And things that are just beautiful that are happening around us each and every day. And, when we go all the way back, our show together first started with none other than Marty Haggard.
Yeah, as the first show me and Donna went to do, and I got to tell you a little bit of a story right quick. You may have heard this before if you've been watching this for a while, but I had Donna's phone number in my cell phone, and I was driving from Arizona. I was driving from Texas out to Arizona to Phoenix, and I had to call her for some reason. I don't know why now, because I had just met her the one time. I went over to her place and spoke there in Scottsdale. And so I pushed the number and called her up, and she sees this weird 979 area code. And she's thinking, who's this lunatic? And she says, hello? Hey, Donna, how you doing today? I'm doing fine. Who's this? This is your long lost cousin. And she knew right then and there, ladies and gentlemen, I was lying right out of the gate. And I'm going to let you pick it up from there.
Game up. Well, my mother was the only child, and my father had one sister. So I only have three first cousins, and one of them has, been long since gone. And so I'm thinking, well, that just can't be. And I'm like, all right, who is this? And he started laughing. He said, oh, this is Jim Grant. So we got to, just chit chatting. And I think you had called me about the event I was having you speak at.
Could have been.
Yeah.
She got a better memory than I do.
But we just hit it off from the start.
Oh, yes. And that's one thing I want to share with you folks out there. Donna and I can share with you, and we're going to be a lot more things going to share with you in 2022, but follow the energy.
Oh, yeah.
Because so many times I know in my life, I've tried things, and I felt like, it doesn't matter if you get up early and work late and work on weekends. If you're pushing a chain uphill, you're pushing a chain uphill. And so we just kind of migrated together, and I invited Marty Haggard to be on my radio show. That was in July of 2020. Mm-hmm. And I called up Donna and I said, hey, Donna, guess who I got as a guest on my radio show? She says, who? I says, Marty Haggard. And what did you say then?
I said, oh my gosh. I said, I'm a huge Merle Haggard fan. I saw him back in the 80s. And he said, you are? I said, oh, yeah.
And right then and there, I knew I needed her energy on the show for the benefit of the audience. Because it wasn't what we were going to talk about. It was what people wanted to hear. And when you got good, positive energy there, it vibrates throughout through the airways, all the way across, because we're all a vibration. The universe is a vibration. And that's why we did it. And and Donna is she is so shy, ladies and gentlemen. It was almost.
I'm in classes for it.
Yeah. It was almost embarrassing because we weren't even off the air 20 seconds. And we're sitting there, we're visiting with Marty Haggard. He's the oldest son of Merle Haggard. And Donna just says, Marty, would you like to be on my radio show? He said, well, sure, Donna, I'd be glad to be on your radio show. And Donna said, well, since Jim had me as a honorary co-host on his show, he's going to be an honorary co-host on my show. So together, between the two shows, we just kept co-hosting along.
We did.
And then we started a show on, when I say we, I mean, I'm talking about this before Donna and I got together. The group that I was with, the 6-minute webinar and all those folks, we started a show on Zoom and Facebook when the pandemic first hit, because Bill Heinrich says, we need to address the pandemic. We know all these speakers, we need to put on a show called Messages of Inspiration and Hope and Support. And everybody just says, hey, we could do that. Yeah. And I'll do this and you do that. And Don says, yeah, we know hundreds of speakers. And then Don looked at me and says, Jim? I said, yeah. He says, you can host it. Oh, okay, I can do that. And so that's how Tamara Hunter became aware of what we were doing.
Right.
And we got introduced to E360 TV. We're very honored to be a part of the E360 TV family.
We are.
It's a blessing.
It is. And Aaron Hymas is absolutely incredible human being.
Yeah.
We are truly blessed to be in his corner.
Absolutely. His partner, Aggie, fantastic people, just wonderful people. And the reason I share that with you is because we didn't push a chain uphill there
No.
because it's so nice to walk through doors that open for you.
Yep.
And you're entitled to that. You have every right to live your life in love and abundance. And your calling is different than mine, I mean, and that's a good thing. Just like some people have a calling of being I got to give a special shout out to the nurses across this great land and around the world. Thank you so much for everything that you do, because I really appreciated the nurses and how they took care of me while I was in the hospital for 8 days, getting the open heart surgery and all that. But the thing I'd like to say, what really touched me about you nurses out there was that when you walked into a room, into my room, I was the most important person on planet Earth.
Right.
Your heart, your compassion, because doctors come in and they're going to say, okay, da 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 da. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow. But a nurse comes in there and she's with you till she is finished being a good servant to
Oh,
you.
yeah.
And the heart and compassion that takes. Let me just humbly say, I got to salute you. I love you. I appreciate you. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you and your family. I don't care who you are, where you are. If you're a nurse, you are somebody extra, extra special. Thank you.
Yep. And in truth, all the support stuff.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, and it's not only in the hospitals, but let's be honest, folks, everywhere. We have retail workers, we have, people are in the trenches, and it's a tough time. And, although it's a beautiful time of year, a lot of people are happy. It brings on a lot of sometimes curtness, let's just put it that way. Out in the world where people are a little bit rude to each other. And so, we just want to say that, everybody take a big, huge breath. We're all thankful for being here. And everybody is doing everything they can in their own life to be good and to be whole.
And I'd like to give a shout out to the truck drivers. They do a tremendous job, because think about it. Name one thing you got in your house that a truck did not bring.
Right.
Think about that. Absolutely. And they do a tremendous job. And truck drivers, they put in long hours and they're away from home a lot. And I mean, it's just amazing how people come together from all walks of life to make this world worth living in. And in 2022, we're going to get on some programs there. We're going to have some programs about, because people are tired everywhere. They're tired of the doom and the gloom, and we're all going to drop dead and all that. And they're tired of, the legislation, regulation, and strangulation of our lives. And they're also, take back in the first part of the 20th century, that Archduke he got assassinated. That created World War One. And I think it was in 14 to 1917, something like that. And then in 1918, there was the plague. It ran around for about a year and a half. Then after that, what happened in the United States?
Roaring 20s, baby.
Roaring 20s, yeah. I mean, people wanted to live. People wanted to enjoy the abundance of life, because people are the same everywhere you go. They want to love one another. They want to love their family, love their friends, and they want to be left alone. And that's a wonderful thing. It really is. And that's the way we're wired. And the 2022, Donna and I, we've talked about it before on the show. It's time for a New Year's revolution. Yeah, don't make a revolution. That'd be gone in 3 weeks. But a revolution to change your life, to be able to live the life that you so richly deserve. And it's rightfully yours.
Right? It really is. We have been blessed 6 ways to Sunday.
Yes.
In everything that we do in our life. We are blessed to be here each and every day with you. We are blessed to, be able to. Jim and I were talking about this yesterday. We talk probably 3, 4, 5 times a week. And we were talking about this, our calling, Jim and I, our calling in life is very simple, folks. It is to inspire and be a platform, if you will, to help others and to showcase things in this world that are a good thing. That's just the way he and I are wired. We want to be there to help other people, to help showcase them.
People see the real side of us. They see our humorous side when I make Donna laugh and snort when I say something funny. And but they also realize that we're just real people. We fall down and skin our knees. There's times when we need help in our lives emotionally. We need people to pray for us, to think about us. And because I get so sick and tired of seeing some of these people that, on TV, and they act like our dogs are house trained and our kids are, grade A students. I'm going like, I think I'm going to, I'm like that lyrics of that Shania Twain song. I'm out of here, brother.
Right.
But yeah, that's because like on the video that I made about my heart, I share very openly. We're editing it now. It's going to be on YouTube, on our channel. But I share very openly where I made a dumb mistake. And the reason why I put it like that is because I don't want you or anyone else to fall through that hole in your safety net like I did. Just between me and you, when you land in a I'll tell you what, my blood pressure at house was a 174/86. And within about 20-25 minutes, I'm in the ER. My blood pressure when I got there was 190/111. So therefore, I tell people, time is your enemy when it comes to chest pain, number one. Number two, you're gambling with the health of your heart. Number three, you will always lose. So that was one of the bright things that I did. And the lessons learned was that, I knew that there was a problem in my heart. And that's in the AO scanner that Dr. George Grant did on me. But because in my head, I was thinking, well, my blood pressure is good.
Right.
Cholesterol levels are good. My heart's got to be good.
Right. Your weight's good. You get plenty of exercise. You eat right. The whole, you take great supplements, the whole 9 yards.
You try to do everything right. And then you get body slammed. And when you have a heart attack at midnight on a Halloween of all nights, Halloween, think about that. Kind of like, whoa, wait a minute, that's kind of spooky, isn't it? But it is not fun. But I'm so thankful because this was a blessing in disguise for me because I was able to circumvent and be able to correct an hereditary condition in my heart called the widowmaker. Because that thing, I started looking that thing up. Holy enchiladas, that thing will scare you. If you have a heart attack outside of a medical facility or ER, you know what your survival rate is percentage-wise? About 12%.
Right.
And I've known several people that, they're going along in life and they're like me, no medications or anything, and they're healthy, they're happy and all that. And all of a sudden they're standing there on a street corner and drop dead of a heart attack. And even though there was one case that I knew, the people were there, the EMTs were already there because it was at a racing event. And they rushed over there within just a couple of minutes, started CPR on this one guy. But he was already gone.
Right.
That's why they call it the widowmaker. And ladies, us men, we do not have a patent on that widowmaker. You too can have it. But I'm going to share some great information with you on that. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so thankful and grateful. And that's our duty, to share good news with people, because right now, people are tired of all the negativeness that they see in this world. And people were, a lady, I was on another call before I came on the show today. And a lady says, I've seen your show. I really like it. She says, you guys are great. And I said, well, don't blame me. It's all Donna's fault.
You're silly. You're silly.
If I lost my sense of humor, I wouldn't have no sense at all.
Right. And that's another thing. Jim and I are really thankful for that right there, our sense of humor. We have a good time. We are what you see is what you get.
Mm-hmm.
We laugh, we crack up.
Mm-hmm.
And when we have our phone calls as partners and we'll talk about something or whatever, Jim, I can't think of a time that we haven't had laughter in it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And yesterday you said something very interesting. So, I made the comments, you know what, Donna, you and I make a good team. And she said, you're exactly right. She says, one thing about us is that, we've never, we don't have an ego with each other or anything like
Right.
that. I mean, because some people, when it comes to egos and stuff like that, and they want to give their opinion. Sometimes opinions are like rear ends. Some are bigger than others, and
Well,
they can get ugly in a hurry.
right. We don't, what I was, what he's referring to is we were talking about when we are sharing ideas and we're having our
Hmm.
brainstorm, our little mini masterminds.
Hmm.
If, Jim says something or I say something and one of us doesn't think it needs to be tweaked a little, maybe that we don't let ego get in the way, because at the end of the
No.
day, this is a business and this is about our friendship. And
Hmm.
ego just doesn't get in the way. I have never walked away on the phone going, well, dang it, he really upset me. I have
Hmm.
never done that. Not
Yeah.
one time. God is
Yeah.
my witness.
Yeah. Same here, Donna. Same here. And yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, I can't share all the good news with you, but
Oh,
there's
it's
going to be
exciting.
something coming down. And what happened yesterday, and this is what I mean about don't push the chain uphill, because a lot of you out there, you're struggling.
Right.
Stop beating your head against a wall. I've done that. I mean, that's about as much fun as trying to trim your toenails with a chainsaw. I mean, that's going to get ugly in a hurry. But my point being is that, I talked to my other partner, Don McGrath, and Don said, well, Jim, we can do this and you can do this and you can do this. We can put everything together that we're working on for 2022, which is going to be tremendous.
A
And it
New
won't
Year's
cost us
revolution.
$1. It won't cost us $1. That's when you know that you know that you know you're headed in the right direction. And just remember, little hinges will always open big doors for you.
Hmm. Hmm. It is really exciting because what we have coming, folks, wow, it is
Yeah.
a game changer. That's all I can
Yeah.
say. It's a game changer.
I was so happy today on the show that I wanted to sing Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer, and Donna wouldn't let me, so I'm not going to let her sing I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas. So if I can't sing, she can't sing either.
Yeah, I told him he couldn't sing the grandma song because I'm a grandma now. That's
Yeah,
not
that's right.
nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've told people before, and some of you folks that follow the show know this, that I've been a professional backup singer for a great portion of my life, and I show up and they listen to me and they back up, keep backing up, and I get about a half a block down the road and they say, okay, that's good. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, I love, although Christmas is a beautiful time of year,
Yes.
I'd like to touch on something that if you are able to reach out to somebody who you
Mm.
know is going to be spending Christmas alone,
Yes.
who's maybe lost somebody, who's having a
Yeah.
rough time, that is the time to bring them in. And if they're not comfortable, maybe coming to your home, maybe you could do a care plate package for them.
Oh, yeah.
Because sometimes, even though the holiday it's a beautiful time of year, we're celebrating, Christ, we're celebrating our family, we're celebrating so much
Mm.
as our year winds down. It can be a devastating and lonely time for
Yes.
people. And so if you can, reach out and check on those who are alone, those who are in need.
Hmm. And if you want to do something to really give you a thrill, is someone that you know that may be struggling financially. Go to the grocery store and buy just 1 or 2 bags of groceries.
Yeah.
Sneak up there and put it on the front porch and knock on the door and run. or ring the doorbell or whatever, or have somebody go up there and knock on the door for you and have them run if you don't feel like running. But the joy and the jubilee of being the anonymous giver, oh my goodness gracious, it's second to none.
Right.
Second to none. It's a
Well,
feeling that never gets old.
what is that saying, Jim? Help me out here. There's a saying about that the greatest gift, I can't remember how it's worded. The greatest gift is when you give and have nothing expected in return.
Oh yeah, that's pretty much it right there. The greatest gift is when you give and expect nothing in return. Oh man, I tell you, it's a sweet feeling that never gets old.
It is. It is.
And
So, we've had an incredible year. We've had a year of growth. We've had, we've had our own struggles.
Mhm.
Personally, with our business has seen some really crazy growth.
Mhm. It really has, because we don't do the traditional interviews like a lot of talk shows do, or any of the TV shows, because we found out if we focus in on topics, people are interested in topics and not speakers.
Well, and it just works with us better too.
Yeah, we're all
Again,
about infotainment.
and it follows, again, folks, the energy. So that's why we do the kind of shows that we do here on Messages of Inspirational Stories,
Yeah.
because that follows who Jim and I are, and clear down into every cell, every fiber of our being. That's who we are.
Oh yeah, what she said. Oh my goodness, I tell you, she was what was the deal there on the, oh yeah, she was doing some Christmas wrapping and for gifts and all that, and I said, what did I say to you? You don't need to wrap mine or something. I just come pick it up.
You right? Yeah. Okay, Jim. That's
Yeah.
going to be about a 2-day drive, buddy.
Yeah, drive 2 days, pick up, a gift. Yeah, that'd be real smart. But no, we're very thankful. We're doing some things with our good friend Mr. Marty Haggard next year. We're very excited about that because we can be a blessing to him.
Yep.
And to have him in our life as a friend, because we were on the call with him. Mr. X, who's been playing during this week and will be playing next week. Okay. A lot of good information there that we're providing for you folks there on marketing. So you might want to, go there and check it out. But he looked at us and he says, Donna, I love you. Jim, I love you. Of course, he knew who Mr. X was. He says, I love you. And that just really meant a lot to me.
It did.
Because it came from the heart. And for someone to know, or for you to know that someone really loves you for who you are, what you stand for, and what you're about. And for them to, like Marty Haggard just says, I trust you, no problem.
Right.
That is, when someone gives you their love and their trust.
That's everything.
Yes. Yes. And there's a tremendous responsibility that comes with that because.
Just going to say that.
Yes. Go ahead.
Well, it's just a tremendous responsibility that when somebody gives that love and that trust, that you own that and that you give it back in return and that you don't break that love and that trust.
Amen. You don't use and abuse that person either. Right. You look for ways how you can bless them.
However, I will say I did tease Marty on the call and I said, well, Marty, I'm really excited about today's call. And he said, why is that? And I said, because you haven't made me cry yet. And he looked at me and he laughed and he said, well, Donna, it's early yet.
Oh, yeah. Marty is quite and I want to share something about Marty, if I may, the story about his dad, Merle Haggard. Marty he's the oldest son of Merle Haggard. He grew up with his dad on the road. He was on the road with his dad since he was 8 years of age. And the reason why Marty sounds so much like his father when he sings, I mean, you know, you just listen to it with your eyes closed. You can't tell if it's Merle or Marty. I mean, they look identical too.
Oh my gosh.
But the point being is that as a young boy standing over there looking up to his dad because Marty loves his father very very much, and he would sing the songs that his dad was performing on the stage.
Mm-hmm.
And he was there when all the great songs were made. And he tells a story. Now, listen to this. He tells the story of a musician who was playing, he was singing harmony and playing the guitar on some of Merle's major hits.
Mm-hmm.
And Merle was with Capitol Records, and he'd already had about 4 or 5 #1 hits. So now
by
he's
that time he was a star.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And, the young man, he had signed a deal with Capitol, but they weren't doing anything with the song. And he says, Merle, he said, I signed on with Capitol and they're not doing anything with my song. What can I do? And this is a lesson for you entrepreneurs. Here was Merle Haggard, a major country and western star, probably the biggest country and western star in the history of country music. When you look at all the #1 hits he had, even his most famous song, Silver Wings, was never released as a single. But that is one of the most recorded songs that the audience wants to hear from Marty.
It was actually a B-side.
Yes, it was. It was in the filler in an album. Yeah. And he said, well, let me hear the song. And so the young man played it. And Merle said, that is a #1 smash hit.
Right.
He says, I'll tell you what, you go back now they were in Bakersfield, California. He said, you go back to LA, you bring me 2,000 copies of that record. Come back here because I'm mailing out my new record. Mm-hmm. I'm not waiting on Capitol. I'm mailing out my own record, my new record coming out to 2,000, back in those days, about 2,000 country and western stations. And he says, I will drop your record in with my record and I will put a handwritten note on there. Please give this record a spin. And, I appreciate it, Merle Haggard.
Right.
And Donna, if you're sitting there and you're a DJ and you get this package in from Merle Haggard and a personalized note, hey, thank you. Would you kindly give this record a spin? Appreciate it, Merle Haggard. What would you do?
Right. You play it.
Yeah. And that's exactly what happened. Both songs went #1. Mm-hmm. Merle's song went #1 on the country and western chart. The other song, it was #1 in the pop charts, rock charts, and rock and roll. And the artist you may have heard of, his name was Glenn Campbell. And the song was By the Time I Get to Phoenix.
Yep.
Now, Marty says, well, back in those days, musicians helped each other.
Right.
Because they kind of looked like, okay, they're going to be Johnny Cash fans, they're going to be Merle Haggard fans, they're going to be Chris Christopherson fans, Waylon Jennings fans, etc. But there's room for everybody.
Right. Because again, ego didn't play in it.
Right.
It was all about just helping your fellow person.
Mm-hmm. And Merle didn't ask for a single dollar in return.
No.
Yeah. It just, that's just kind of person that Merle was. And tremendous man. I've learned a lot about Merle with having Marty on several shows now and working with him. And goodness gracious, I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, this old world could use a lot more of Merle and Marty Haggard in this old world.
Absolutely. Yeah. Marty is one of the most down-to-earth people I've ever met in my life. Mm-hmm. And he has got a wicked sense of humor.
Oh, yeah, he does.
Yes, he does. He's awesome. But he is just as sweet and just as humble as, anybody I've ever met.
Yeah, he is. He's just, his dad was the same way because his dad just wanted to play music. This thing of being a star seemed to get in his way. Yeah, it was in his way. Kind of like, All I want to do is play music from my heart, for my fans, and let them enjoy my music the way I enjoy my music. I don't care about stardom and all that stuff. And
Right,
that shows you right there that he did not have an ego.
right,
And
right.
that's very very much a very admirable trait to have, to be that humble,
Hmm.
because a lot of people, I mean, they get a little bit of fame and maybe a little bit of fortune, and all of a sudden there's somebody.
You can't touch me. Look at me
Yeah,
now.
yeah, exactly. And the pitiful part is, if they had any brains, they've already known they were somebody.
Right? That,
You know.
yeah, that doesn't make you anything more than who you are.
Yeah, that's right.
It just doesn't. But
Yeah.
we have, uh, I'd like to, right here, right now, also thank Michaela.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sure.
Absolutely. She is one of our hosts, as you all know,
hmm
and she's our administrative assistant here at our
hmm
show. And she does a tremendous job
hmm
behind the scenes. She does.
Especially in her condition. She's a young mom. This is her fifth kid, I think. And little Mia Rose, that's about 2 years of old, 2 years of age. She's got to have, looks like open heart, or going to have heart surgery on her heart. So
Right.
I've got that heart to heart pillow over there, and I'm going to give her that since we're heart buddies. And Michaela got, since she's expecting again, she had about 12 weeks of morning sickness. And oh gosh, she went through a horrible time there. And it's really amazing how, she's done so much for her
Mhm.
family and us. And we just want to give a shout out to her. We really do.
Absolutely.
hmm
She is a wonderful, wonderful addition to our little family here.
hmm Yeah. And that's what we tell people to do. Be sure surround yourself with people who love you, care about you, and they're willing to help you. And you got to be the same in return. You got to
Right.
love them, be concerned about them, have their back in their hour of need, and look for ways to be a blessing in their life. And guess what? All the rest of the stuff that
Just
people worry about, like competition and all that, it falls by the wayside.
right.
It falls.
Competition is nothing more than your ego playing tricks on you in your own mind.
Oh yeah. And
Because the
Donna,
only thing you should be worried about is what you're doing.
oh yeah, absolutely. Just be yourself and try to treat people the same way you want to be treated. Um, Other people phrase it differently, but
Hmm.
it's like my dad told me when I got ready to go in the army. He said, "Well, son, remember one thing." I said, "What's that?" And he always had a 500 things that were one thing for me to remember. And he says, "When you go out in this world and you don't want to be treated like an idiot, do yourself a favor. Don't act like an idiot."
Right?
He spoke in country English. You never had to walk away from Dad and say, "I wonder what he meant when he said that." And of course,
Oh,
Donna, you've heard me talk many times about two of his favorite sayings I heard many times in life. He'd look at something I'm doing or thinking and say, "Son, exactly when did that seem like a good idea to you?"
right?
And one of his
Right?
favorite things when I'm doing something, like I said, I was a kid in the 50s and an overly intelligent teenager in the 60s. And he'd say, "Well, son, that looks like a good way to skin your ignorance to me."
Oh my goodness. The things that our parents teach us that we don't think
Mm.
about at the time, right?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's just, I was just thinking as you were saying that, just one more time, I would love to sit down at my mother's table and break open those freshly baked biscuits that are still very warm and almost steam
Hmm.
coming out when you break them open. And I mean, oh, you put butter and honey on those things. And I'm telling you, those things, just the anticipation of eating them and tasting them, it make you drool like a hound dog at a church picnic.
Right?
It just one more time, I'd love to do that. And that's how precious life is. It's fleeting, and that's the why. We need to
Hmm.
love one another and be good to one another, and most importantly, appreciate each other.
right? And
Really.
be kind.
Oh,
Lead
yeah.
with love. Lead with
Oh, yeah.
love and lead with kindness. And when you lead with those, you can never go
Mm.
wrong.
That's exactly right. Because, Donna, in my lifetime, I'm glad that most of the time I did not say anything, but I would think, huh. And then I found out the Paul Harvey side of the story of
Right.
what that poor person was going through. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm sure glad I didn't take a stupid pill this morning and say something,
Right.
because goodness, because always look at where a person is coming from. Kind of like that. There's a song by Joe South came out, #1 hit, I think it was in 1969. Walk a mile in my shoes
Hmm.
before you criticize and accuse. Ooh,
Right.
mercy.
My mom and dad always used to say, don't get hoof and mouth disease, Donna.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's really amazing because that's an old saying. How's that big foot fit in my big mouth?
Right.
you know, but
Uh-huh. Don't
it's
bite
very, very
off more
true.
than you can chew.
Oh yeah. It's amazing. We were sitting around the other day, me and Elf were, and we were talking about, wonder where that phrase came from, you know? And I can't
Hmm.
remember the phrase we were talking about, but they've just been phrases you hear all your life. And, you've even said them yourself without thinking, but you
Oh,
stop
yeah.
thinking, where'd it come from, It's just
Well,
amazing.
my husband and I were talking, and I said something. I don't remember what it was. This was several months ago. And I said something, and he looked at me and he said, huh, I have never heard that in my life. And I said, and he's from Texas, so
Hmm.
we were. Uh, he was raised pretty much the same way I was raised,
Hmm.
and I looked at him. I said, "Well, the only thing I can say about that is obviously you don't have quite the depth of hillbilly blood in you that I do."
I thought she was going to say you weren't raised right.
No, it's got to be the hillbilly blood.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah. I tell you. And some of the people I've known in my lifetime, the simple people. Oh, I remember my fourth grade teacher, Jewel Blanton. And when her parents named her Jewel, she was a true jewel.
hmm,
I did very well in her class. I enjoyed her class. And she was just a very, very sweet lady. I got sick that year with double pneumonia. And I had to go over every other day and get a shot of penicillin in my arm. And I told her, I said, I'm so happy because I don't have to have a shot today. And she smiled at me real sweetly. And she would bring my homework over to the house because she lived right down the road from me because we lived out in the country there in Shelby, North Carolina. And very sweet lady. And I wish I could have had a teacher like her all the way through school because I would have just excelled. I'm not
right,
blaming the teachers. I'm just saying, well, my fifth grade, I went from the penthouse to the outhouse on that deal. Her husband and my dad worked on the same line crew at the power company. And for some strange reason, I got blamed for stuff that I did do, and I got blamed for stuff that I didn't do. And
right.
she'd look over her half moon glasses at me and she says, I'm going to tell Hugh about that tonight. And you know what really got me about that, Donna? It's kind of like that old deal when someone whispers a word and they pass it on, and it
Right,
comes back around. It wasn't anything close.
right,
Every single time that whatever she said to Hugh and Hugh said to my dad, and Dad was reminding me of it and got home, it didn't happen that way,
right,
But of course, I was in a GNC status then. Got nothing coming
right,
except a whipping.
right. No grace
Like,
in that one, brother.
I got more whippings that year in any 3-year period in my life growing up. But you know what? I had an incentive to study. I
Right.
want to make sure I didn't go through that again.
Exactly.
Otherwise, Donna's
Exactly.
partner on the TV would be somebody else. I already be pushing up daisies.
Oh goodness.
I don't think I'd have survived another year of that one.
Right. Right. But we have lessons that I don't like to call them failures because it's such a bad connotation.
Yeah.
So I like to look at it as a lesson learned. What have I learned
Mm.
from this?
Yes.
Lessons learned,
Yes.
and
Mhm.
that for me has been a blessing.
Mhm.
because when I've taken the negative out of the connotation, I
Mhm.
can bring the positive, upbeat energy into it and
Mhm.
learn something. Your brain is literally more receptive to learn something positive,
Mhm.
even by just switching a few words around.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that has been a true blessing for me this year,
Mhm.
is changing those paradigms. And I've been evolving with that for many, many years now. But this last year was truly the year that just went right over the edge for that one.
Mhm. Yeah, you mentioned me yesterday that there's a lot less stress in your life.
Oh,
I didn't understand that because she's putting up with me, lady. But that's what she wants to tell me. That's fine with me. I didn't argue or disagree with her.
oh, it is true, though. It is
Mhm.
true. I have something when we get ready to close the show, and I didn't talk
Okay.
to you about this beforehand.
Okay.
We still got just a few minutes before we close the show, but
Okay.
I have got a incredible little something that when we get ready to close, I'd like to close the show with.
Sure. You bet.
It's a good one, I think, for all of us.
Okay, that sounds good to me because, hey, I got to tell people, I came home with a zipper in my chest. I felt like I got kicked in the chest by a mule. And then, Donna, you'll get a kick out of this. When they open you up like that, they cut the sternum in half and
Right,
then they pull you open, to be able
right.
to do the surgery and all. And I'm rolling over in bed and you feel things move, your rib cage and all move and go like, it doesn't hurt, it just feels weird. So I
Right.
rolled on my back and I'm trying to push everything back. And I thought, wait a minute, am I doing any good or not?
Am I going to
Because
be pushing something back in the wrong place?
yeah, I mean, my my lung may wind up close to my ear or something. But what I said to myself is that yeah, I think you better leave it alone, Jim, because you hadn't exactly been to rib school.
Yeah, let the doctors handle that one, brother.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But we are excited, folks. We are excited to
Oh,
be here
yes.
with you. And we're excited to wind down the year with you
Hmm.
and be in your home. And we
Hmm.
know that honestly, you could choose to be anywhere, but you choose
Yes.
to spend that with us. And we are
Yes.
grateful and we do not take that lightly. And we
No. No.
appreciate and love each and every one of you.
Yeah. And next week, we're going to have the continuation of Mr. X and his
Mhm.
marketing. Oh, my goodness gracious. I paid thousands of dollars of money out of my pocket for the
Mhm.
same type of information he's going to be sharing with you. So if you know of someone that could benefit from that, please, please, please have them go to the Messages of Inspirational Stories TV show on Facebook, or you can catch us on E360 TV. Go there and download the apps either on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, iOS, Grandma's TV, whatever.
Twitch.
Oh, yeah. Oh, but
Not
sincerely,
you.
oh, yeah, okay. But sincerely, share it with others because those marketing tips, oh my goodness gracious.
Right?
Remember when he's telling Marty Haggard? I said, you got to tell that story.
Right?
He was working with DHL there in Jacksonville, and they just had a Cub plane coming in, dropping stuff off and picking up stuff and going out. And he got to working on the marketing and all that, and he got up to a bigger plane, and then a bigger plane. It was a 727 when he says, hey, this is really news. And he called the
Right.
corporate office, and they said, oh, we run 727s all over the United States. That's no big news. And he said, yes, it is. And so he was able to get it on. Listen to this now. He was able to get it on several local news channels,
Mhm.
and he actually had the Port Authority,
Mhm.
a member from the mayor's office there, and a TV crew at the airport at 4:30 in the morning to film a plane landing.
Right.
Think about
Right.
that. And I was teasing him. I says, "Did you the plane, boss? The plane, like little
Right.
tattoo on Fantasy Island." But excuse me, you think about that, and it's really amazing. I mean, how many people could have those people out there at 4:30 in the morning to watch a plane land?
That's strategy.
Yeah.
That's strategy.
So that's just a snapshot of what he is going to be delivering, and we're so honored to be able to share that with you as we take a time off to be with our family during the holidays, and most importantly, provide value
To
for
you.
to you or someone you may know. Because my goodness gracious, like I said, I paid thousands of dollars for that, and that's one of our gifts from Donna and me to you to say Merry
Absolutely.
Christmas, God bless you, and we just hope you take advantage of it and share it with others.
Absolutely. So, Jim, we're almost out of time here. I know the hour has just flown by, but I would like to close with this. I
Yeah,
came across this today and I thought it was so beautiful. Merry Christmas, Flight 2022 instructions. Good morning and welcome to Flight 2022. We are prepared to take off into the new year. Please make sure your positive attitude and gratitude are secured and locked in the upright position. All self-destruct devices, pity, anger, selfishness, pride, and resentment should be turned off at this time. All negativity, hurt, discouragement should be put away. Should you lose your positive attitude under pressure during this flight, reach up and pull down a prayer. Prayers will automatically be activated by faith. Once your faith is activated, you can assist other passengers who are of little faith. There will be no baggage allowed on this flight. God, our captain, has cleared us for takeoff. Destination, greatness. Wishing you a new year filled with new hope, new joy, and new blessings. Stay blessed and welcome in 2022.
Oh, wow, that's powerful. As you were reading that, I thought, man, whoever put that together is just
Right?
did a brilliant job.
Yes, they
And
did.
as I shared earlier, when I was told that the stents in my heart would not work, that I needed open heart surgery, bypasses and all that. And people asked me, how did I feel at that time? I said, well, it was just a facts. I mean, I'm seeing now what the problem is, and there's a viable answer. So I just simply said, for some reason, I don't know why, I just said, Lord, it's in your hands. If the surgery goes well, I go home. If it doesn't go well, I go home.
Mhm.
And I shared that with a couple of people. And the young man who came in to see me on Friday night, he was one of the medical people. Hey, I've been thinking about what you said there. He said, you didn't ask for anything. I said, no, it wasn't a prayer petition. I don't even know why I just made a proclamation of my faith, but I did.
Right.
And then the words just rolled off my tongue. And I said, well, when you stop and think about it, if your faith does not give you comfort in your hour of need, what good is it?
Right.
And I share that with you because, ladies and gentlemen, as you're going through the tough times, whenever they come along, and they all come along for all of us, it is our hope and our prayer that your faith will give you comfort in your hour of need. So on behalf of Donna and myself, we just, we pray for you and we love you. And most importantly, love yourself so you can love others.
Absolutely. Merry Christmas, folks.
Merry
and we
Christmas.
will see you in our new year.
You bet. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And for you guys out there, some of my buddies, try and behave yourself, okay?
We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, folks.